Good day, everybody. This is Lewie coming at you. I've got Caroline right here. Hi, Caroline. Madison in the back seat. Hi, Maddie. We're on our way home, but I wanted to do a quick video because some kind of just came to mind. Isn't it weird, and this is just for you to think about, but isn't it weird, the state with the smallest division in votes between Biden and Trump is the state producing the most evidence and most irrefutable evidence of voter fraud? Now, the U.S. Constitution says that if you've got evidence, or if you got broken laws during your election process, that the election is invalid, and therefore the state legislature needs to take action, sign their own electorates, and just fix it. Make sure the will of the people is heard and followed. Problem is these legislatures are too cowardly. Here's some evidence of broken laws and fraud. Now, the Constitution says you don't have to have evidence of fraud, just evidence of broken laws. Keep that in mind. That's actually a major point. But this is just from Georgia, the one state that had a very thin margin in votes between Biden and Trump. All right. The first and biggest of the bombshells was at 10:30 at night. The head of one of the counting places, which would be the State Farm Arena in Fulton County, Georgia. She kicked everybody out, said come back tomorrow at, 8:30. And she and 3 others stayed back. And they pulled 4 suitcases out from underneath the table. Now, this table is not where they were supposed to be storing ballots, but they did. They stored 4 suitcases of ballots. These suitcases held up to 6,000 ballots apiece. That's 24,000 ballots. And in a 2-hour time, they ran 18,000 ballots on camera without oversight, without a Republican and Democrat watching. They ran 18,000 ballots. They left when they found out the Republicans were coming back, because the Republicans went to another counting place, found out from a news agency that they hadn't quit counting over there, so they went back. So they quit. About 5 minutes later, you see the Republicans walking into the arena looking for who was counting. And get this, when they signed an affidavit saying what they heard and what they found, they were called liars until the video came out. There were 96,600 ballots in Georgia that were marked as not returned, that were actually counted for voting. Some of the ballots that were returned were mailed out, returned, and counted on the very same day. Figure that one out. I can't even get mail to get from my house to my neighbors in less than 4 days, but yet they can get ballots out to the people, get the people to fill them out, and mail them back and get them counted, all on the same day. Some of them were back the next day. Like I said, I can't even mail a letter to my neighbors without it taking 4 days for them to get it. Don't even get me started on the Dominion counting machines. We'll get to them in a minute. It came out during the Georgia hearing that it came out, I think it was Rudy Giuliani said that they have a recording of somebody ordering Biden ballots. When I say Biden ballots, they're ballots that are voting for Biden as president from a company in China. Does that tell you anything? There's a woman who testified. She had 20 years experience dealing with elections. She got called in to do the first recount. It was supposed to go from Saturday to Wednesday. She did a suitcase of ballots, 6,000 ballots, and some of them ballots were in what she called pristine condition, no folds. The bubbles for Biden were exactly the same. There's a little crescent moon kind of thing on the side of the bubbles on 98 of them, and they were exactly identical in that crescent moon. 98 ballots. She says on one of the ballots, it looked like someone had removed it from a printer because all the markings for the bubbles were in the middle. They removed it too early. There was one gentleman who testified. I'm reading off of notes, by the way. There's one gentleman who testified that he was stood behind 2 vote counters watching them cast the ballots, watching them to tabulate the ballots. Okay. Now, I told you about these suitcases. They held 6,000 ballots. That's the max, up to 6,000 ballots. He watched them do a count, and when they wrote down the count for that particular suitcase, the results were 10,707 votes for Biden, 13 for Trump, out of a box or a suitcase that could hold 6,000. A little off. He chased after that box. He went to a supervisor. They agreed he was right, that there's no way they could have gotten nearly 11,000 votes for Biden out of that suitcase. So he got permission to chase that box, and the way I understand it, they did an unofficial recount of that particular suitcase. And the actual results were 1,000 and change for Biden and the rest for Trump. There's all kinds of chain of custody violations in every state. I've been watching them. I really have. Let's see. What else was there? Oh, let's get on with the Dominion. Now, during the Georgia hearing, now I'm sure it was in the other hearings too, because this gentleman that was doing this was at other hearings. But he was talking about how with Dominion machines, Biden did 5.5% better than he did with the other voting machines. This isn't location by location. This is by where the voting machines that were being used is what it was by. Okay, on the Dominion machines and Dominion related machines, 5.5% better than he did on the rest of the machines. Not better against Trump, just better in general. So the way I see it here, the way I see it is this. The Constitution says if the laws are broken during an election, that election is null and void. It's invalid. And therefore, the state legislatures need to take the power back and remedy that election. Georgia is in the process of trying to do that right now. I hope they do. But the thing is, it takes courage to do what's right. And a lot of these legislatures in a lot of these states don't have that kind of courage. They were elected and they were sworn to protect the Constitution from foreign and domestic enemies. Well, we have a lot of domestic enemies to our Constitution. And these people need to get the courage that they were elected to provide and say enough is enough. Let's remedy this. Let's fix this election so that we can get the majority of the people's voices heard. It doesn't matter who won the election as far as I'm concerned, as long as it was done fairly. And it wasn't. There's been evidence of laws being broke. There's evidence of fraud. And a lot of these people are hiding their head in the sand saying, I don't see it, I don't see it, I don't see it. You know what? It's open your damned eyes. Open them up. Everybody sees it. It doesn't matter if you're Democrat or Republican. Everyone sees it. Now, the Democrats are happy and they don't want to admit they see it because they got their man in. But the fact is, there was one woman in Georgia who spoke of the chain of custody problems at her voting precinct. You want to hear the clicker on this? That precinct was a landslide for Trump. And yet she still filed an affidavit about the chain of custody. She was a Trump supporter. And yet she still filed an affidavit about the chain of custody. Because there was none. There was no security for those votes. Again, it's not about who won or lost. It's about the fact that this country just has been divided for a very, very long time. If you ask a Democrat, it's been divided for 4 years. If you ask a Republican, it's been divided for 12 to 16 years. And when you have an election that is so blatantly fraudulent, all you're going to do is add to that divide more. It was said during the Pennsylvania hearing in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, that there are people who are willing to lay their lives down right now. I didn't say it. A lady by the name of Hope something said it. She, again, one of the witnesses at one of the hearings. I'm telling you, people are tired of it. You keep messing with the people are going to mess back, and you're not going to win because there's more of us than there is of you. Get your legislatures off their ass, tell them to get some courage and do what is right. If they don't understand what you're talking about, point them to the Cowardly Lion in The Wizard of Oz, the one that's scared of everything, and say, that's what you look like right now. Get the courage and do what is right. It's the only way we're going to get this problem straightened out. Have a good day.